Hi everyone, welcome to my channel and welcome to episode 6 of Outfit Transformation series. In today's video, I'm going to transform these tie-dye print pants, so please keep on watching. So the first thing I did was I marked 16 inches, that's how long I wanted the shorts to be. Then I used a scale to draw a slightly diagonal line and then cut one side and used it as a guide to cut the other leg. Then I seam ripped about 2 inches from the sides and saved the hanger straps to use later. The pants were a bit loose at the waist, so I took in about an inch from the front on both sides and then I pinned it and stitched it using a straight stitch. Next thing I did was I double folded the bottom of the pants and used pins so that it would be easier to stitch. I used a contrasting white thread because I thought it would look better. Also the pants already had white thread stitching all over. And that's how the shorts look after alterations. So initially I wanted to make a cord set. So I started with drafting the top, for which I used this strappy dress. I started tracing the neck, armhole and side and drew a straight line at the bottom and marked 12 inches using a measuring tape. Then connected the 12-inch point to the shoulder point just where the strap would start with a straight line. And use the outer side of the hip curve to draw the shape of the overlap. Next, I drew the armhole using the same hip curve. Next, I marked 1 cm seam allowance. I used the same scales which I used before to be more accurate. After erasing the unwanted lines, I'm just cutting the pattern. Now I'm using the leftover leg of the pants. Then I ripped the inner seam of the pants and ironed the outer seam flat. Then I traced the pattern and cut it. Next I used the same piece and laid it right on right to cut the other piece. For the back, I used one of the pieces and used the armhole point as a guide and marked a straight line across and a straight line down. Once I was done cutting, I had a square piece which then I cut in half to make side panels for the back. Then I marked 1 inch at the top on the side and used a hip curve again to merge it in the side seam and then just cut it. I also cut 3 inches wide rectangle piece for the center back. Then I started with drafting the ruffles pattern. I marked 12 inches and marked a point in the center and drew a 4 cm line and used a French curve to draw the curve and reshaped it a bit. Then I marked 7 cm and connected the 7 cm points with a curve. The pattern was ready, so I'm just cutting it. Then I traced the pattern on the leftover fabric and cut 3 pieces. Now I'm cutting one of the pieces in half. And joining it with the other 2 pieces with a straight line. Now I'm laying both the pieces right on right and making a slightly pointy curve and cutting it. Now double folding the edges and stitching them. Then I'm gathering the other edges. I used 5 number stitch so that it will be easier to pull. Now I'm tying one side and untwisting the other side and pulling the lower thread to make gathers. Once I was done with gathering, then I tied the ends with a knot. Next I'm cutting diagonal pieces to make piping, which is 1 inch wide. Then I joined them together to make a long strip. Once I was done stitching, then I trimmed the excess fabric. And made one more strip. For the back, I double folded the top edges and stitched it. Then I marked half-inch points and drew horizontal lines. Then I used thread elastic to make shirring by stitching on the marked lines. Then I joined the center back to the side panels and stitched it. But as I said earlier, I decided to make a playsuit instead of a corset. So I had to replace the center back with a bigger piece. So I repeated all the steps and replaced it. Now for the front, I pinned the ruffles like so. And stitched it. Then to hide the raw edges, I made piping and attached it. Then single folded it and stitched it. And then I attached the ruffles at the center and stitched both front pieces. I also made piping for the armholes and I attached the front and back pieces together. To attach the straps, I marked 3 inches on the back panels and pinned the straps to the marked points. And stitched them, and then I attached the top to the shorts. Next, I removed the unwanted stitch lines. For the belt, I cut strips of fabric 2 inches wide and joined them to make a long strip. Then I folded both edges inside and folded it again in the center and stitched it. Then I used a hanger strap to make two 5 cm straps for loops, and then I'm pinning them like so to the side seams. And stitching it, and then folding the top and stitching it again. And this is how the loops look like. And this is the finished transformation. This is perfect for summers. And that's about it for today's video. I really hope you enjoyed watching. I will see you in my next one. Bye.